When you hear the name Mzilikazi, you probably picture the Ndebele kingdom in present-day Zimbabwe. But what if his most powerful reign happened long before he ever got there? For almost 2 decades, Mzilikazi wasn't just surviving. He was thriving as a sovereign ruler in the heart of southern Africa. In this episode, we follow his journey from the Vaal River to the strategic Mahalisburg, a stronghold stretching across modern-day Gauteng and northwest provinces in South Africa, where his power truly peaked. Season 2, Episode 4, The King at Mahalisburg. Despite earlier consolidation and fortification in the region, by mid-1827, the Vaal River had become more a frontier of exhaustion than of opportunity. Mzilikazi recognized that long-term survival demanded strategic relocation. The route was well chosen. Oral accounts and European testimonies confirm that Mzilikazi crossed through Commando Neck, a rugged pass just west of the Uri River. His warriors, hardened by years of movement and battle, swept into the region, defeating any resistance as they went. By late 1827 or early 1828, they had reached the northern slopes of the Mahalisburg Range, settling near the headwaters of the Apis and Uri Rivers, areas that would serve as the heartland of Mzilikazi's domain for the next several years. Here, the tone of Mzilikazi's leadership shifted. No longer simply a fugitive or raider, he now governed as a king, the king of Mahalisburg. Ruling from a constellation of powerful settlements, chief among them a town later referred to by European visitors as the Ndebele capital. By 1829, missionaries and traders such as Robert Moffat began to arrive, recording the layout and dynamics of this growing state. The central kraal, likely located along the upper Apis River, was surrounded by other Ndebele towns and subject communities, conquered Sutu, Ndebele, and refugee peoples, dispersed along the valleys and foothills. The presence of such diversity prompted Mzilikazi to further refine the identity of his people. From this era forward, his nation would be known as the Ndebele, a name that had roots both in Nguni tradition and in the descriptions offered by the Sutu, who referred to his warriors as Matabele, which might be a description of their methods of operation, or might mean those with long shields. As his kingdom matured, so too did Mzilikazi's royal household. Mzilikazi by now had fathered multiple sons, including Chukisa, also known as Muntu, Lopela, Kalingana, Mangwana, and Langabeza. These were the eldest sons of Mzilikazi. However, they had been born before he was king. This would be a pivotal factor in succession politics in the future of the Ndebele. Having already fathered several sons, he further cemented alliances through marriage. Among his most notable wives during this phase were Mwaka, a Swazi princess of Ndwandwe origin, who gave birth to Prince Nkulumane and Princess Zinkabi. There was also Fulata Chabalala Mabindela, a noblewoman from Eswatini, and described as a customary surrogate wife who came with Mwaka. Fulata bore Lobengula, the future king of the Ndebele. To secure his growing domain, Mzilikazi constructed 3 major military strongholds in and around the Mahalisburg. The first military base was Kungwini, or Nkungwini, meaning place of mist. established near the Apis River, just north of modern-day Pretoria. It became the largest and most important of Mzilikazi's Transvaal centers, extending his influence as far south as Heilbronn in the Free State. From Enkungwini, his warriors launched campaigns against rival Sotho groups, including the Bakwena, bringing thousands under his dominion. The second military base was Dinaneni, or Ndinaneni, strategically located just north of the Hartbeespoort Dam, in what is now the Zilkats estate. This site gave Mzilikazi access to western mountain passes and was ideally positioned to monitor movement into his domain. The third military base was Mhlalandlela, established in the territory of the Bafokeng north of Rustenburg, played a key role in anchoring Mzilikazi's control over the western Highveld. This kraal would later lend its name to another settlement in Matabeleland, highlighting its symbolic importance. Between 1827 and 1832, the Ndebele expanded significantly. The estimated population was in the tens of thousands, including original Khumalo followers, the Lubi, the Sotho, and Transvaal Ndebele groups of the Nzunza, Manala, Mtombeni, and Lomo lineages. Over time, some of these groups would end up with an adaptation of Nguni linguistics and phonetics for their clan names. For example, Ngwenya from Bakwena, Mkandla from Bakatla, and Sibanda from Sabata of the Batawung. Remarkably, they maintained their unique languages and culture while being part of a new Ndebele identity. This seemed to be Mzilikazi's approach, that of preserving the unique cultural identities of the clans and nations that were under his leadership. The Ndebele continued extending their influence northward to the confluence of the Crocodile and Limpopo rivers, and south to the Vaal. Mzilikazi's forces defeated several important rivals during this period, including Moerane, steward to the young king of the Bapo, Haswane and More, kings of the Bakwena, Chief Pilane of the Bakatla, who managed to flee, and Petedi of the Pedi royal line. While the powerful Basotho king Mushweshwe managed to resist, most other regional groups could not. We'll delve deeper into that clash between Mzilikazi's forces and Mushweshwe at a later time. From this secure political center, Mzilikazi launched further campaigns. In 1832, he directed his forces southward to raid Rolong villages, asserting dominance across the southern frontier. These raids eventually led to the capture of Mosega, the capital of the Huruche. Mosega became Mzilikazi's southernmost military headquarters, allowing him to control the route to Kuruman. At the same time, additional military kraals were established, including Chwenyane, Egabeni, near the Great Mariko River, and Mkwaleni. Reinforcing Matabele military depth, Mosega, in particular, became a central node in diplomacy, defense, and mission activity. With his base secure and his people expanding, Mzilikazi had successfully transformed himself from fugitive to ruler. By 1836, Mzilikazi's formidable Matabele kingdom stood as a beacon of power. From his stronghold in the Mahalisburg, his territory stretched across the Transvaal, his disciplined regiments having subdued rivals. He even maintained skillful diplomatic ties with missionaries and various groups. But as his reign peaked, a far more dangerous presence entered the Transvaal, the Voortrekkers. These Dutch-speaking settlers, embarking on the Great Trek, were now on an inevitable collision course with Mzilikazi.